Hello, my name is Miguel. I am a patent engineer and I help tech startups learn how to navigate patents. In this video, I am going to teach you three different things to look out for in order to choose a good patent law firm for you when you are applying to get a patent. Now, there are oftentimes many different things that a startup will look for to be able to decide what law firm they ought to go with or what law firm they ought to probably consider in order for them to be able to get a patent and go through the entire application process. However, oftentimes there are some things that a startup might overlook at first. And in this video, I am going to explain what those are and so that you can be on the lookout for them. Now, the first thing that oftentimes many startups overlook is whether or not that specific law firm has someone who understands the technology involved with that particular startup. Now, oftentimes a law firm might have a lot of great attorneys which can do a lot of great work in their legal work, maybe if you need to go to trial or if you need to do some sort of business transaction and you need an attorney by your side. There are different law firms which could potentially help you out. But when you are trying to get a patent, it is important for that particular law firm to have someone who understands exactly what work you are doing, what patent you are trying to get. Because in the patent process, you are going to get rejected. Your patent application will most likely than not get rejected at least once. And if you don't have someone who understands the technology and the impact that you are doing with your innovations and with your inventions, they are not going to be able to defend you the best way possible. They may not be able to prosecute that patent the best way that they can. And they might be great attorneys, but if they don't understand your particular invention, then it's a lot more complicated for them to be able to help you out. Second thing that sometimes we overlook and sometimes startups might not be aware is that the patent process can take a while. This can range from a year, close to a year at the very short end of the spectrum, to several years. Sometimes this process can take 2 years, 3 years, maybe even up to 5 years sometimes. In some rare cases, even longer, but it does happen from time to time. So if you want to be able to have your nerves settle down a little bit, you need someone who will communicate with you often. You need someone who's gonna be on top of things because, let's face it, that law firm might have a lot of different cases going on. They may have a lot of other patents going on simultaneously. If you are a bigger firm, you might have be working with not only startups but maybe even with some companies which have many patents in their portfolio. So you want someone who's going to be communicating often with you, someone who's going to be prompt and on top of things. So you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of communication from your law firm, not only when you're getting an invoice, but oftentimes they may say, hey, the office has taken a while, we could try to reach out to whoever's examining your patent to see if there's anything we can do to expedite this process a little bit. And once they get an office action back, it might be a rejection, you want them to be on top of things and you want them to be letting you know as soon as that notice hits their docket. You want that same day for you to be able to also know, hey, what's happening, what's going on. And that way you're going to be less anxious through this entire process, because it can be a little bit anxious, especially when you get hit with a final office rejection and you're like, okay, so what now? Is this over? And if your law firm doesn't get back to you promptly enough, you might do some business moves which might not have been the best. Maybe you could have gotten a request of continued examination, and after that, maybe your patent could have been approved after tweaking it a little bit. But if your law firm doesn't let you know promptly what is happening, you might decide to do some moves. You might decide to abandon it altogether when you could have kept it alive and, been able to get that patent if that law firm would have communicated with you a lot sooner. So you want to make sure that they're always constantly communicating with you so that you can take the best decisions possible. Now, this third point is something that not that many people consider. Even bigger places, bigger firms with many, many engineers involved, many, many inventions involved, and even law firms themselves don't do this often. But there are times when a law firm can not only be a cost center. Sometimes when we get patents, is well, just because that's the best practice that you can do. That's the best way to protect yourself, is by getting a patent. If your invention is very novel, very unique, and it can be manufactured very easily if someone was to get their hands on your products, well, you want a patent there. But that's just a cost. That's something extra that you gotta do. Sometimes law firms will say, hey, well, we have the best attorneys available, so that if you have to go to trial, then you will be protected quite well and quite efficiently. And that's great. That's a good value. But that's more like insurance. It's a cost for your business. However, there are practices that you can do which can make the entire process not only more cost effective, but they may even help you to generate more revenue. That law firm might potentially even help you to costs somewhere else along the way. And if that law firm is not actively on top of things and letting you know, hey, we have this other service, or we can do this service for you, which is going to help you along the way, well, you'll just be, spending money to get what you need when you could have been generating maybe a little bit more revenue. A patent is a great way for you to be able to know what your competition is doing. It is also a great way to know what the entire landscape is for the technological space that you're in. And those are great ways for you to, one, get more inventions. Two, it can also be very good at marketing. Not only by letting people know that you have a patent, but by saying, hey, and this is how we're different than our competition as well. And many people don't take that advantage, don't take that consideration into their marketing or their sales. And a patent can be a great way to not have to do multiple searches. It can be a great way to condense a lot of different aspects into one, not only the legal aspect and the technological aspect, but also even marketing, also even sales. So if a law firm is a good law firm, they might have some other services which is not something completely like brand new that you have to do, but they take the work that they'd have already done, do a few more steps, take a few more inventions, do a little bit more of work, but they already have pretty much the entire foundation already laid out, and they can just stack something else on top, which can in turn help you to generate a little bit more money and help you maybe even to cut costs somewhere along the way. So if was something useful for you that you probably hadn't considered while looking for a law firm, be on the lookout for that. Ask them, hey, how often are you going to communicate with me during this entire process? What is your goal once you get an office action? Is it to get that office action done as promptly as possible? How often are you communicating with the patent office when something is not moving along as quickly as you expect it to be? Also, ask them to meet the group which is going to be working on your patent. It might not be just a partner maybe that you visit with. It might be another attorney as well, another junior attorney working under that partner. It might also be a patent engineer, such as myself, another patent agent, and you want to know who's going to be working on your invention and getting you that patent. You want to make sure that they understand what you are doing, and if they have other services which might help you to generate a little bit more money on top of already the work that they are putting in, and it's something that might be a value addition to you, then that would be a great place to also consider seeing if that would be a good place for you to get your patent. All law firms have really great attorneys. All law firms have really good people working in there, but there's something things that can help to set apart a law firm and for you to be able to decide to work there and get the best experience possible while you go through this process.